Sri Lanka ප්‍රථම වරට SLT 4G වෙතින් දැන් Pure TV නරඹන්න. ඉදිරියටම ගෙන යන SLT 4G.
ලෙන්ගතුකම වැඩි කරගන්න ලව්ජු රුපියල් 50ට අඩු කළා.
මාමේ එන්න අපිට
Tonight, change of heart. Curfew extended in 19 districts until the 16th. Message from police. Wear masks and honour the front line in COVID-19 battle. Resume work. Export Development Board issues clarion call to exporters. Reward and release. Police personnel to be granted a monetary reward, while the Attorney General issues further guidelines on bail for remand persons in minor offences. All that and much more coming up on First at 9, this Saturday, the 11th of April, 2020.
SMS කර රුපියල් මිලියන 3ක මුල්තැන්ගේ උපකරණ දිනාගෙන අවුරුද්දෙම කුස්සිය ටයිම් සේව් කරගන්න.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to First at 9. I'm Dhamnik Eknaik. Let's start with your local stories. Now, the Lotus Tower was lit up this evening as a special gesture to pay tribute to the country's health and essential service employees who are currently spearheading Sri Lanka's anti-COVID-19 campaign. While being key workers, they not only ensure that the country navigates through these trying times, but also put their own lives at tremendous risk for the greater good of Sri Lanka.
Behind the country's battle against the COVID-19 pandemic are hundreds of unsung heroes. These are the health, security and essential services staff who are currently manning the front line of the country's efforts to contain, control and combat the deadly virus. From detection, quarantine and treatment to ensuring safety and security and a smooth flow of essential goods to lockdown citizens, these Sri Lankans provide a selfless service to protect their fellow citizens. The Lotus Tower in Colombo this evening was lit up in a special display as a tribute to these Sri Lankan heroes.
Now, dangers of flouting health and safety protocols in the face of the COVID-19 pandemic was never more evident than it was in Suduella in Jayala, where 6 of the 8 new cases were reported today originated from. 5 associates who had maintained close contacts with the suspect who tested positive for the virus following his arrest for theft last week were also confirmed as having contracted the virus today. In addition, the wife of the suspect had also tested positive and was admitted to the hospital along with her 7-month-old infant. Sri Lanka's total number of COVID-19 cases so far jumped to 198 today after 8 more cases were detected in the past 24 hours, out of which 54 have recovered so far. This brings the total active cases currently undergoing treatment to 137, along with 165 under observation. The country's recovery rate saw a minimal decline, falling from 28.4% yesterday to 27.27% today. Recovery rates across the world have been on the up as countries have begun implementing stricter restrictions on public movements and have gotten a proper grasp on the outbreaks in their localities. Such upturns in recoveries are being taken as a ray of hope in what has been a terrifying 4 weeks for the entire globe. 6 of the new cases came from the Suduella area in Jayala, while 1 other was detected in Dehiwala. 5 patients from Suduella were all associates of a suspect recently arrested by the police for theft, who had tested positive and had maintained close contacts with the suspect. Following the suspect's arrest last week, police and health officials moved to cordon off Suduella community, fearing a mass spread. The 6 cases were part of a batch of 28 youth who were transported to the Oliville Quarantine Centre from the Suduella area following the closure of the village. The 28 youth were all determined by intelligence services to have been associates of the arrested suspect.
මොවුන්ගේ ඇසිරීම ඉතාමත්ම ළඟට ආශ්‍රය කළ තියෙන බව තේරිච්ච හින්දා මොවුන් රැගෙන යන්න ඉස්සෙල්ලා PCR පරීක්ෂණයට භාජනය කරුන් ලැබුවා. ඉතින් ඒ අරංගිය 28 දෙනෙක් අරන් ගියා. ඒ 28 දෙනෙක්ගෙන් 5 දෙනෙක් මේ ආකාරයෙන් ආසාදයෙන් ලක් වෙලා ඉන්න බවට ඊයේ රාත්‍රියේදී තහවුරු වුණා. ඊට අමතරව අර අකරදැබ්බේදී පත්වෙච්ච පුද්ගලයා ඒ කලහකාරී ලෙස හැසිරෙච්ච පුද්ගලයාගේ බිරිඳ මේ අතර ඇයව අරගෙන ඉහිලා තිබෙන්නේ නැහැ. නමුත් ඇයවත් මේ ආකාරයෙන්ම ආසාදයෙන් ලක් වෙලා තියෙන බවට තහවුරු වුණා.
Meanwhile, the COVID-19 positive wife of the arrested suspect, along with a 7-month-old infant, have been admitted to the hospital. Further PCR tests are being carried out in the area on persons who have had exposure to the 5. The Suduela community consists of 300 families, out of which a group of 50 more residents have been transported to the Oliville Quarantine Centre as a precaution. Meanwhile, it was revealed that the patient detected in Dehiwala had arrived in the country from the UK in the company of another individual on the 15th of March. The patient had also undergone the compulsory 14-day self-quarantine period, but had reportedly developed symptoms a further 12 days after the end of his quarantine. The patient's associate has also been hospitalized after testing positive. Following this, 6 members of the Dehiwala patient's family were admitted to the Homagama Base Hospital. As recovery rates continue to climb, the importance of recovered patients maintaining health and safety protocols cannot be emphasized enough. This was highlighted when it was reported that the patient identified as the first case from the Putlam district, who had been discharged from hospital and returned home, had ignored advice to observe a further 14-day self-quarantine period. When health officials had visited his home, he had been visiting the house of a relative, prompting officials to issue a stern warning to the former patient. Now, police spokesperson SP Jalia Senaratne has urged the public to wear masks when venturing outdoors, both as a safety precaution and as a gesture of respect for the country's workers battling the COVID-19 outbreak. Meanwhile, the curfew in low-risk areas, which was to be lifted on the 14th of April, was revised today and will now be lifted at 6 a.m. on the 16th of April.
Countries the world over are taking drastic measures to curb the spread of this deadly coronavirus pandemic. Lockdowns are becoming more and more common as fears of contracting the virus have truly gripped the people. The World Health Organization initially did not make wearing face masks mandatory, saying normal sanitary practices such as frequent hand washing was adequate to keep the virus at bay. As the COVID-19 spread gains momentum, that thinking has changed and the police urged people today to wear masks when stepping out of their residences.
අපි දන්නවා හෙට සහ අනිද්දා සිංහල දෙමළ අලුත් අවුරුද්ද සමරන්න නියමිතව තිබෙනවා. ඔබ බොහෝ දෙනෙකුට ඔබ නිවසේ පවුලේ සමාජිකයන් සමග මේ අවුරුද්ද සැහැල්ලුවෙන් සැමරීමේ අවස්ථාව තිබුණත් අපි දන්නවා සමහර වෛද්‍යවරු හෙදියන් ඇතුළු අනෙකුත් සියලුම කාර්ය මණ්ඩලය මේ වෙලාවේ S2 විතරක් එළියට පේන ඇඳුමක් ඇඳගෙන රෝහලේ කරන කැපවීම කුමක්ද කියන කාරණේ පිළිබඳව ඔබ අවධානය යොමු කරන්න. ඒ අයට අවුරුද්දක් නැහැ. ඒ වගේම ත්‍රිවිධ හමුදාව පොලිසිය මහා මාර්ගයේ අවුවට පිච්චෙමින් මේ කාලය තුල අවුරුද්ද සමරන්නේ පාරේ ඉඳලා. මේ පිළිබඳව ඔබගේ අවධානය යොමු කරන්න. ඒ වගේම අනෙකුත් රාජ්‍ය සේවකයන් පාරේ කොතන හරි තැනක එහෙම නැත්නම් කාර්යාලයක මේ වෙලාවෙත් වැඩ කරනවා. ඔබට සාමකාමීව සෞඛ්‍ය ආරක්ෂිතව සිංහල දෙමළ අවුරුද්දක් සැමරීම සඳහා ඒ නිසා ඔබ සියලු දෙනාගෙන්ම මේ අවස්ථාවේදී අප ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා මෙම කැපවීම කරන සියලු දෙනාට ඔබ දක්වන උපහාරයක් වශයෙන් ගෞරවයක් වශයෙන් ඔබ මහා මාර්ගයට අවතීර්ණ වෙනවා නම් මුවා ආවරණයක් පැළඳ ගන්න. ඔබට සෞඛ්‍ය ආරක්ෂිතව නිෂ්පාදනය කළ මුවා ආවරණයක් නැතත් එවැනි දෙයක් ඔබ ලබා ගන්නකම් ඔබ නිවසේ හදාගත්ත මුවාවරණයක් හරි අඩුම තරමින් ඔබගේ ලේන්සුව හරි පාවිච්චි කරලා මුවාවරණයක් ලෙස පාවිච්චි කරලා මාර්ගයට අවතීර්ණ වෙන්න ඒ වගේම ඒ තුලින් ඔබට යම්කිසි ප්‍රමාණයකට හෝ මේ රෝගය බෝවීම වළක්වා ගැනීමට හැකියාවක් ලැබෙනවා. ඒ වගේම මේ අවදානම් සහිතව රාජකාරී කරන සියලු දෙනාට රෝගය පැතිරීමට අවස්ථාවක් තිබෙනවා නම් ඒ අවස්ථාව යම්කිසි ප්‍රමාණයකට පාලනය කරන්න පුළුවන්.
In the meantime, numerous raids and inspections were carried out in order to apprehend curfew violators and those misusing curfew permits. Following the government's effort to prevent the spread of the coronavirus within the country, the curfew for the districts of Colombo, Kalutara, Gampa, Puttalam, Kandy and Jaffna will remain until further notice. In addition, the curfew covering the police areas of Ratnapura and Palmadulla in the Ratnapura district, which are currently in isolation, will also continue until further notice. As for the rest of the country, the President's media division said today that the curfew will be lifted at 6 am on Thursday, the 16th of April, before being brought back into effect at 4 pm on the same day. It also reiterated that all manner of inter-district travel during curfew is prohibited, except for essential services, while warning that those who misuse the mechanisms put into place to ensure smooth running of services will be brought to book. Following a spike in illegal liquor production during the curfew period, the police have taken steps to increase the number of raids in a major crackdown on illegal distilleries. The Valana Anti-Corruption Unit raided an illegal liquor distillery located in a jungle in the Habralagalandal area in Vadua. One suspect was arrested during the raid. Elsewhere in the Mahabellana area of Bandaragama, another illegal distillery operated close to the Bolgada Lake was raided by the law enforcement unit of the Panudra police. Meanwhile, 2 more suspects were arrested when another illegal liquor distillery was raided last evening by officers of the Hinguraggoda police. A further 70 suspects were arrested from the Talva police division for illegal liquor production and sale during curfew hours. Along with the suspects' equipment, 2,000 litres of liquor and 15 barrels of Goda were also seized. In the meantime, 2 suspects were apprehended in possession of a total of 600 narcotic pills in Kanattagoda and Valigama in Matara. The arrests were made by the Anti-Corruption Unit of the Matara Police Division. The Badagama police launched an operation after public information was received with regards to a suspicious vehicle parked in the vicinity of an abandoned house in the Agalia area in Badagama. Upon locating the vehicle, 4 suspects had attempted to flee the scene. However, police were able to arrest 1 suspect. Officers detected 250 milligrams of heroin in the suspect's possession. When inspecting the vehicle, a further 2 grams and 150 milligrams of heroin, as well as a knife and 2 mobile phones were also found.
Acting Inspector General of Police C.D. Vikramaratne has approved a monetary reward of 5,000 rupees, which is to be granted to police personnel of selected ranks manning the front lines of Sri Lanka's COVID-19 battle. In the meantime, pharmacies were ordered to reopen, or more like remain open, throughout the country, except for those located within designated high-risk zones.
With all pharmacies across the country being brought under essential services, the Presidential Task Force on Essential Services instructed all pharmacies across the country to be kept open from 9 am to 2 pm in all districts. According to a statement released by the Prime Minister's office, the move will however exempt all high-risk zones and areas that are in isolation. People residing within high-risk zones are urged to place their medication orders online and have them delivered to their homes. In the meantime, the service provided by the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka to provide solutions to electrical systems and plumbing and issues in households in the Western Province has been extended to other districts as well. Facilities have been provided to rectify the problems by acquiring the assistance of an electrician or a plumber closest to the consumer's residential area through the hotline services put in place. Accordingly, people will be able to receive the services of a plumber on the hotline 1939. The service of an electrician for consumers of the Ceylon Electricity Board can be obtained by dialing 1987, and for the service of an electrician for consumers of Lanka Electricity Company Limited is available on 1910. People can also call the number 076 427 1030 to contact the Public Utilities Commission. In another development, a group of engineers have built a portable containment unit that can be used by doctors and nurses to diagnose and treat COVID-19 patients by maintaining a distance. The unit comes in handy given the highly contagious nature of the COVID-19 virus. Elsewhere, the Gangarama Temple donated essentials to the Sri Lanka Police today, while the Western Province Police Division also distributed jackfruit to low-income families who are inconvenienced owing to the island-wide curfew. In the meantime, the Inspector General of Police has approved a monetary reward of 5,000 rupees to be granted to all police personnel for the services rendered during the battle against the COVID-19 virus. Each police personnel from the rank of Chief Inspector and below will be entitled to the reward. The IGP has accordingly given instructions to the Deputy Inspectors General of Police to grant the monetary reward to the relevant police personnel. Meanwhile, a person selling turmeric and dried fish unfit for human consumption with the use of a motorcycle was subject to investigation by the Piliyandala Health Medical Officers. The police raided the premises where the items were stored and then took legal action against the individual.
Now, in other developments, Minister of Foreign Relations Dinesh Gunawardena has held discussions on the ramifications emanating from the present coronavirus pandemic to Sri Lankan migrant workers abroad and to explore possible mechanisms to assist them. Now, the talks were worked off in the presence of the secretaries and senior officials of the Ministry of Foreign Relations, the Ministry of Skills Development, Employment and Labour Relations, and the Sri Lanka Bureau of Foreign Employment. Referring to approximately over 1 million Sri Lankan migrant workers who are employed largely in the regions of Middle East, Southeast Asia, East Asia, Europe and Africa, the minister had stated that the interests of these Sri Lankans need to be looked into by the two ministries. A media communique by the Ministry of Foreign Relations said that during the meeting, the minister specifically drew the attention of the senior officials to the needs of the migrant workers who are employed in the Gulf region. Minister Gunawardena had said that measures taken by the host countries in this region to curb the spread of the coronavirus has adversely affected the migrant workers and instructed senior officials to explore solutions to these implications. Amongst other topics discussed at the meeting are the issues of unregistered migrant workers under the Bureau of Foreign Employment, those who have currently lost their jobs, and issues relating to remittances. The Foreign Minister had also said that the government would take every possible step to assist and safeguard the rights and well-being of Sri Lankan migrant workers all over the world. We will be back after this short break. Stay tuned.
කොරෝනා වෛරසය පැතිරීම වළක්වන්න සබන් යොදා දෑත් සෝදන්න.
Welcome back. You're watching First at 9. Now, the Attorney General has issued further guidelines to Acting Inspector General of Police on granting bail to remand prisoners for minor offences in view of local outbreak of coronavirus pandemic. On Thursday, the Attorney General formulated guidelines on granting bail to inmates who are remanded over minor drug offences. Accordingly, the Attorney General has instructed the acting IGP to consider releasing minor drug offenders on bail when the net weight of the seized heroin does not exceed 2 grams. This measure is being taken to reduce overcrowding at prisons in light of the COVID-19 pandemic. AdaDerana continued relief efforts for the 19th consecutive day today to help our own people affected due to the countrywide lockdown. Now, according to a concept of the chief incumbent of the Bodhirukkarama temple in Wallagodakada in Anuradhapura, 2 metric tons of rice was given to the village of Wallagodakada. Dialogue Relief Services also joined hands with us in this humanitarian effort. In addition, LOLC too joined with AdaDerana to provide medical equipment needed by members of staff at leading hospitals where COVID-19 patients are being treated. This program with LOLC will be conducted further, covering other hospitals which also treat COVID-19 patients. Furthermore, the distribution of safety kits to the security personnel deployed at the front line against the COVID-19 virus was worked off this morning at the Defence Ministry premises under the patronage of Defence Secretary Major General Kamal Gunaratne. Sri Lanka Navy has seized more than 300 kilograms of narcotic substances during an operation at high seas. Now, the seized substances are suspected to be a haul of approximately 260 kilograms of heroin and 56 kilograms of crystal methamphetamine, also known as ice. Naval personnel had found the narcotics haul in a foreign vessel without a flag state on the international seas, about 548 nautical miles off the coast of Sri Lanka. 7 foreign nationals who are believed to be Iranian have also been taken into custody along with the intercepted vessel. This narcotics raid is a result of an operation conducted by the Navy from the information secured by interrogating persons who were aboard the 3 vessels intercepted earlier this year, as well as data analysis on satellite communication and international information exchange. The 7th Archbishop of Colombo, Most Reverend Dr. Nicholas Marcus Fernando, has passed away at the age of 87. Archdiocesan Director for Social Communication, Father Jude Krishantha Fernandez, stated that the government has decided to give a state funeral to the former Archbishop of Colombo of more than 25 years. His remains have been brought to the Archbishop House Chapel and will be taken to St. Mary's Church at Grand Street, Negombo tomorrow morning. The funeral mass will be celebrated at 2 p.m. on Monday the 13th at St. Mary's Church. Father Jude Fernando advises the Catholic community not to visit the remains and not to participate in the funeral service, taking into account the prevailing situation in the country. We will see you again on the other side of this break. Bear with us.
නිෂ්පාදිත දිනය කවදත් අලුත් වටවල තේ අරගන්න.
වටවල තේ ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ තේ එක.
Welcome back. This is First at 9. Now, the Export Development Board calls on all exporters in the country to commence operations after the New Year holidays. Now, in a media communique, the EDB highlighted the need to generate foreign exchange, without which it said that the country cannot be sustained. The communique added that factories will be permitted to operate outside the red zones. The EDB encouraged exporters to collaboratively start their businesses and help Sri Lanka in its time of need, and to come together and search for new markets, new customers, while strengthening existing relationships and continuing to provide quality exports. It also stressed that it is mandatory for all exporters to comply with the health regulations issued by the Ministry of Health in this regard, and all factories will be inspected by the PHI of the respective area before they commence business. Oil prices dropped yesterday, with Brent down 2.5% to $31.82 a barrel, as traders feared that the 10% production cut promised by OPEC would not offset the global drop in demand. Yesterday, oil cartel and allies OPEC Plus agreed to a deal that may have brought an end to a price war between Russia and Saudi Arabia that threatened to flood the market with more oil than demand called for. The cuts are expected to reduce global supplies by 10% or 10 million barrels per day in an effort to raise prices, which hit an 18-year low of $22 per barrel last month. It will also push other oil-producing states, including the United States, to cut a further 5 million barrels per day to help navigate the deepest oil crisis in decades. Global oil field demand has plunged by as much as 30% or 30 million barrels per day during the coronavirus outbreak, as steps to fight the disease have grounded planes, cut vehicle usage, and curbed economic activity. Now, the World Health Organization has issued a warning to governments to practice extreme caution when lifting restrictions too quickly, saying that the risk of a deadly resurgence can be very high if miscalculated. The warning was issued after global fatalities surpassed 100,000 mark yesterday. However, recoveries continue to grow, surging past 350,000 world over.
Global tally on the number of infections surpassed the 1.7 million mark, with fatalities across the globe also surpassing 100,000. Recoveries across the world have risen by 10,323, taking the total to 376,615. The United States counted 2,108 deaths within the last 24 hours, recording the highest number of deaths reported by a single country in a single day. New York remains the worst hit in the country, with more than 700 deaths reported across the state alone. The city has begun using Hart Island to bury unclaimed victims, with around 25 bodies being interred each week by low-paid prison inmates working on the island. In Europe, France recorded deaths over 900 for 3 consecutive days, before seeing a drop below 900 yesterday, a welcome fall in numbers. The country's overall infections were reported at 124,869. In the meantime, the United Kingdom reported 980 yesterday, taking overall fatalities to 8,958. The number of COVID-19 positive cases were reported at 73,758. Italy counted 570 deaths and 3,951 new infections as of yesterday. Italian Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte said yesterday that the government would extend the nationwide lockdown until the 3rd of May, with exemptions for a few shops to reopen from the 14th of April. Conte added that this is a difficult but necessary decision and that he would shoulder all political responsibility. Meanwhile, Chinese health authorities said today that they received reports of 46 new confirmed COVID-19 cases on the Chinese mainland yesterday, of which 42 were imported. 3 new domestic cases reported in Guangdong province and 1 in Heilongjiang province, along with 3 deaths in Hubei province yesterday. According to the Health Commission, 70 people were discharged from hospital, while a total of 1,183 imported cases were reported across the mainland yesterday. In the meantime, the World Health Organization warned countries to be cautious about lifting restrictions, as the move could cause a deadly resurgence of the COVID-19 virus.
I know that some countries are already planning the transition out of stay-at-home restrictions. WHO wants to see restrictions lifted as much as anyone. At the same time, lifting restrictions too quickly could lead to a deadly resurgence. The way down can be as dangerous as the way up if not managed properly.
Now, President Donald Trump said yesterday that the US government could impose visa sanctions on countries that refuse or unreasonably delay accepting people returned from the United States. In a memorandum to Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, Trump cited the ongoing coronavirus pandemic and the need to ensure the repatriation of foreign nationals who violate the laws of the United States. The memo added that Pompeo must within 7 days initiate a plan to impose visa sanctions if the Homeland Security Department determines a country not accepting returnees is delaying or impeding operations necessary to respond to the ongoing pandemic. The order, however, did not name any countries. The Trump administration implemented new border rules on the 21st of March, citing the coronavirus pandemic. Under those rules, US officials can quickly remove people without standard immigration proceedings. Now, Switzerland's federal prosecutor is about to end its investigation into former FIFA president Sepp Blatter's deal with the Caribbean Football Union to sell World Cup broadcasting rights. The Office of the Attorney General said that it has informed all the parties of its intention to close the case and was seeking ways to end it. The OAG intends to discontinue the proceedings, giving no reasons for the decision. As a result, Blatter, who is currently serving a 6-year ban from football-related activities over ethics violations, will not be prosecuted for the matter, which relates to selling TV rights for World Cup tournaments too cheaply. The 84-year-old Swiss, who led FIFA until 2015, was accused of selling TV rights to the CFU for the 2010 and 2014 World Cups for $600,000, seen as far below the market value at the time. In a second criminal case, Blatter is accused of having arranged a payment of 2 million Swiss francs to the then UEFA president Michel Platini in February of 2011. And that's it from all of us here at First at 9. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.